What's up, everybody? It's your boy Caesar. So today we've got part 2 of the Granbird review. This time we're going to be concentrating solely on Great Fighbird. So we're going to go through his transformation and we're going to see what he looks like all put together. So let's not waste any more time. Let's go. So first, before we get into the review, I just wanted to show you what the two boxes look like combined because they create an entire picture. So once you add Fighbird and Granbird together, there you have it. So you have the complete picture of Great Fighbird in the background. You have fire and ice, or fire and wind, or something like that. So I thought that was pretty cool. So I did want to show you that before we get into the review. So that's what the completed box art looks like with Granbird and Fighbird. So here we have Fighbird on the right, Granbird on the left. They do combine to become Great Fighbird. So as you guys know, with the Fighbird, I was very impressed with this figure because even though it does have some limitations, I felt that the design and its just sleekness and the way that they kind of got around not having any articulation for the midsection, I thought that they did a very good job with Fighbird. With Granbird, I wasn't as impressed. So we do have reviews on the channel for both of these. So now we'll combine them into Great Fighbird. Oh my gosh, dude. Oh my gosh. This looks amazing. Wow. Good smile. I feel like I owe you an apology. Now, let me try to gather my thoughts here real quick. Okay. So during this combination, he would scream out, "Saikyou Gattai Great Fighbird," which pretty much means biggest combination or strongest combination, I think is what it means. Wow, dude, good smile. You guys outdid yourself. I have to give you props. That's pretty compact too. It's, wow, man. Now, the thing about this that I think that is interesting, let me talk about the transformation first as I try to gather my thoughts here. The transformation is relatively complex. I don't think that it's gonna be something, it's not a simple transformation at all. You have to kind of get Fighbird ready, and then, as I said in the Granbird review, he's pretty much going to split apart. And you've got to do a lot of maneuvering of different pieces to make sure that they fit in there correctly. If you follow the instructions, and the instructions are pretty long, you will get it. I would say that the only problem that I really had was connecting the shoulders to one of these. One of them went in really good and went in the first time I tried to push it in. This one, I had to kind of finagle it a little bit in order to get it across so that actually collapses in together. So the interesting thing about this is I see what Good Smile did here. And the thing is, because if you remember, I said that I was very disappointed in Granbird's lack of articulation. But since he's a parts former, I kind of had an idea what Good Smile was doing. And the thing was, they gave the majority of the articulation to the regular Fighbird. And I think that that was the best choice to make. And so if I had to, because the way that he stands, he's still got the classic V stance there. I love it. It looks amazing. And then connecting this piece here. Wow, dude. Wow. Good Smile, I owe you guys an apology. I'm not even a fan of Great Fighbird like this, but he just looks amazing. Now let's take a look at how tall he is, because this guy looks like he's gonna be pretty tall. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna take out a measuring tape. And I'm looking at it from my eye. I'm gonna say he's about 12 3/4 inches. You may say 13, but I think 13 is a little high. I would probably say 12 3/4. So he's up there. He looks amazing. Now, the only thing that I can think of that I would actually like more is if this was chrome plated. The Phoenix here, if the gold was chrome plated, this area, the head sculpt for Great Fighbird looks amazing, by the way. We'll take a look at that in a second. And the knees, make that like a chrome plated. I think that that would make this amazing. Now, if you are a fan of Fighbird, just get it. Just get it. Just get it. It's that good. And I'm talking about just from a look standpoint, it's that good. Now let's take a look at his face here real quick. So look at this head sculpt. I love the crest, the sun crest there with the ears. The ears, they don't seem so big now. They look kind of big on Granbird, but not with Great Fighbird. I would say that it looks pretty good. I like that sculpt. And I think that they were smart, because if you actually see the transformation in the show, it looks like the original Fighbird is the one that has his head available so the helmet goes on. But I think they did right by having it be Granbird, because Granbird is the one that has all the articulation in the neck. Remember how that one kind of pops up all the way? So you see how high you can make that? So you can go way up there and then way down to where with Fighbird, you couldn't do that as much. So I think that they did well by doing that. He looks great, dude. I am shocked. Good Smile. I really am. So, I mean, to be honest, guys, I'm really trying to come up with some words. I am so surprised, because you guys know that I am pretty particular about Good Smile. I have a love-hate relationship with them, but I think that they've outdone themselves here. I think even with some of the shortcomings that Granbird did, the fact is, once they're combined, I think that the original Fighbird had so much articulation and things of that nature that they did this one right. So kudos to them. Now, I would be interested to see what Sentinel could do with something like this, because I think that I'm not sure what his articulation is going to be like, because I mean, he does have a good ratchet here for the arms. And the thing about his legs, because now he's carrying significant weight here. And I think this is where maybe die cast would probably be preferred versus just plastic. So that is something that you kind of want to take notice at, because I've noticed that, especially now that he's got the parts for Granbird on, this makes him quite heavy in the legs. And so a lot of times when you're trying to maneuver them, even though you can still maneuver them pretty well here, is that he will want to tip over. Not because, it's just because his joints, right? So the joints for the knees for the original Fighbird, I don't know if carrying that much weight, I think you would want those to be die cast. I think would kind of help him out considerably, and maybe do that kind of like the metal build ones do. Because with metal builds, with metal build Gundam, you know, the whole thing is not metal. It's just mainly the joints. And I think that this one would probably help, especially with the knees, because like the knees and possibly the thigh area, that is something that you would want to make sure that it's sturdy, because will it hold up over time? I'm not sure. So, you know, it looks really good. Kudos to Good Smile. I am blown away how this looks. So what we're going to do now is we are going to do some size comparisons. I'm going to bring out some other combined figures, and we're going to see how they stack up to Great Fighbird. But kudos to Good Smile, man. I take back every negative thing I've said about them. But we'll do that, and we will get his weapons out so we can see what his whole thing looks like with all of his weapons and the shield and all of that. So we'll do that next. So for size comparisons, I think it would only be right to bring out some other Brave figures. So what we are going to do, let's move Great Fighbird here to the side just a little bit. And we're gonna bring out, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna bring out the Pose Plus GaoGaiGar. So as you can see, he towers over him. Now he's got his big hand because that's for the Godian hammer, but I had to take it off because that was making him a little unstable. So that's what you have for the Pose Plus GaoGaiGar. And then next, we're gonna bring out the final form of Great Fighbird GX. So as you can see, Great Fighbird towers over him. Now, this comparison is a little bit interesting because this was the first Brave that Good Smile did. And if I'm comparing quality between the two of these, Fighbird wins this hands down. His joints were extremely weak when they first came out, and that's actually the replacement. If you go way back into the channel's archives, you'll see that this guy had replacement parts for his hips, and his knees are still weak. But you see the chrome gold, this actually came with the stand that you got the chrome gold. Imagine if you had the chrome that this has for Fighbird. I think that that would be amazing. But he towers over the final form of Great Fighbird GX, and that is with his platform shoes on as well. So that's the quality is light years. So kudos to Good Smile. They do seem to keep getting better and better. So that's what we have for the Fighbird GX. And then lastly, we're gonna do a figure that I just did a review for about a month and a half ago, and that is GaoGaiGar. And as you can see, they are pretty close. I would say that GaoGaiGar might slight, no. I gotta take the missile part off of it. I'm looking at their heads, and their heads are pretty spot on. So they're roughly about the same height. Now, as far as the quality between these two, this is another interesting one because the chrome plating here, this is what Good Smile needs to do. Even if they do a special edition, I would prefer you to add chrome to like the gold parts and stuff in your regular edition. But if you don't want to do that, I'm talking to Good Smile here. If you guys don't want to do that, then have it as a special edition. You could have it limited or something like that to where you can get the chrome plating. Because to me, the chrome plating for GaoGaiGar is really, really good. And I think that especially with a lot of the Brave stuff, because a lot of the Brave series, a lot of the main characters, they have a lot of gold in them. So I think it would be really cool to see them. But standing side by side, you can keep them in scale. They're in scale with one another. And so I do give them credit on that. I will say that I still believe that the Takara plastic quality is better than Good Smile. Good Smile is a little soft as far as the plastic quality. And this one, I want to say that this one does have some die cast in it, even though not a lot. What this one lacks, because he needs it in the joints, especially now that he's kind of got the combined form on, especially, and I'm thinking about the knees and the thighs. If you could just get die cast in those two areas, I think that this would be almost perfect. So, you know, they are definitely in scale, and this one, and the thing is, when I talk about Transformers, especially the Japanese side of Transformers, Brave came right after Transformers G1 was over in Japan. And so you can start to see the same type of transformations in Master Force and Victory, and they just continue them with Brave. So they really are like cousin series. I consider them to be more like cousin series, to where this one definitely inspired the Brave series, and that's where they went after Zone was done. That was the last show that was done for Transformers in Japan. So I think that they've done well here. Now, Takara is doing their own Brave stuff. They did King X Kaiser, and they're in the middle of doing all the GaoGaiGar stuff. So they have Genetic GaoGaiGar, I think he just came out, and then they're doing GAO and I'll be interested to see if they do this one as well. Those are a lot smaller than both of these though. They're actually more on the size of the Super Robot Shigoken line. If you guys remember that line from about 10 years back, that line has long been stopped. But I think that I would be interested to see what Takara would do with this. But to me, Takara, if you're gonna do Brave, you need to do them just like you do Masterpiece Transformers. That's my personal take on that. So, but that's what you have for God Jinrai. So now what we'll do is we're gonna put some of the weapons on Fighbird, and we'll see what he looks like with all his weapons and stuff on. So here we have Fighbird calling for the flame sword. Some people call it the Great Flame Sword. He never really called it that in the show though. He just called it flame sword like he did when he was in his original Fighbird mode. So this thing is extremely long, okay? So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna pan up the camera so you can see. You're gonna see my back wall, but I just wanna let you guys see how long this sword is, because with Fighbird being this big, you know, and then his sword too, let's look. So as you can see, that keeps going up and up. You can see my lights there and up. So that is very, very big. Now, if you have him in this pose, you're not really going to be able to put him in a D-top. I think it's too tall, but you know, you could kind of do a variation of this or something. Now, this is a Obari design, and so he can do the Obari pose as well. You may see that in the final thoughts montage, but I think that overall, I think that this looks very, very good. I would say that this is where you need either really strong ratchets or you need die cast. And the reason why is because these legs add significantly more weight. So you're putting a lot of stress on these joints. Now, so far it's worked, but I will say that especially when you're trying to maneuver his legs, he will want to kind of like spread eagle and kind of fall over. So that is something that you want to be cognizant of going forward, especially over time, because we all know, generally speaking, that plastic gets softer over time. And so I do worry, or I'm a little bit concerned that over the course of the years that pass by that I keep this guy, that he might not be able to support the amount of weight that he's got here. Now, you do get two versions of the flame sword. So what I'm gonna do is I'm actually gonna take it out of his hand. So let me go ahead and take this out here, and then let me grab this. And as you can see, it's quite heavy even for this, right? But just to kind of give you to see, so you guys can see, it's way taller than him. So you do have that. So you do get this version. Now I also want to bring out the original flame sword that the original Fighbird had, just so you can kind of tell the difference there. So it is quite longer than the original flame sword. So you do have that there. And then in order, because this pretty much is going to be like your anime version here of the flame sword. And then if you want to do like the toy version, it'll be a lot bigger. So what you do get, let's go ahead and bring out the original flame breaster there from Fighbird there. And with Granbird, you get two adapter pieces. This is one of them, okay? And so what you would do is you would take this and you would snap this on the back here. All right, just like that. And then we'll take the hilt and all of this off. Let me take his hand off first here. And then we can take this off. All right, and then we'll take this out. Okay, and then we'll take this and you will plug this in here like that. And then you'll take this and you'll plug this in here. So as you can see, that's a lot bigger than the original flame sword. So this is more anime accurate here. I kind of wish that they still had the insignia and stuff in this one. They don't, but you know, it's a smaller version. So this is more of what it looked like in the anime, but for his size, this one still's not bad either. So you do have that. So that's his sword. And then for the shield, now this was a toy exclusive of the original DX Great Fighbird, is that you could take the breastplate or the breaster jet from Granbird and you can make this his shield. So what we'll do here is you have a second adapter piece here, and then this one will just snap onto the back like this. Let's go ahead and snap that in there. Just like that, boom, and then he can hold that like a shield. So let me put this on him real quick so you guys can see what it looks like all together. So here we have Great Fighbird with more of the toy accurate flame sword and then the shield. The shield, he never used the shield in the show, at least not to my knowledge. I've seen most of Fighbird, but not all of it, because when I was going through my kind of Brave phase, which was in the early 2010s, because I didn't even know what Brave was before then, but I can get into that story later. But at that time, only the first like 10 episodes of Fighbird were subtitled. And of course, there is no official subtitle version of him because this has never been released stateside. So I saw the first 10 episodes. I think I saw another 20 episodes or so non-subtitled. I just had to kind of piece together what was going on. But I think this is pretty awesome. Also, the fact that a lot of times when you have swords, you normally in like the real world, you'd have a sword and a shield. So it makes sense that you do have that. So I think it does look very, very nice. Now, I will tell you what I am concerned about, and I am concerned about Fighbird's knees. I don't know if the ratchets are gonna hold up over time, because he gets, especially once I started putting this stuff on, because this adds significant weight to him already. I tried to put him in a dynamic pose, and to be honest, it was a hassle because there's so much weight on his legs that if you have the legs spread open, he kind of wants to just do the splits. And so that can make it very, very difficult. And with the legs and stuff, I don't know if it's gonna hold up over time, but I will say that it does look awesome. I love it. I think it looks amazing. It is worth it to me. Now, more than likely, I probably will not have the toy style with the bigger sword and the shield on. I'll probably just have the anime style sword on. So I will probably just have that. So that won't be as much of a problem, especially if I'm trying to do some dynamic posing, because he can do some dynamic posing. I wouldn't say he can do a ton, but he can do quite a bit. So I think that it looks really, really good. I'm very, very impressed. What Good Smile did here. Now, of course, I am a little biased because you guys know I do love Fighbird, but I was very disappointed in Granbird. But now that it's kind of all come together, I think that it ends up still being worth it. So I think that this is a very good, depending on the style of Great Fighbird that you want, you can have the toy style or you can have the more anime accurate style. So I think that this will work for you if you are a fan of Great Fighbird. So now we'll get into final thoughts. So last thoughts on this guy. You know what, Good Smile, I have to give credit where credit is due. You guys impressed me with this Fighbird. Now, the thing is, if you remember in the Fighbird review, I said that if this wasn't good, that I probably was not going to be buying Good Smile anymore. But now you guys impressed me with this one. This Fighbird is very, very good. The only thing that this thing truly lacks, especially in its combined form, is that the legs for Fighbird, I don't know if they're gonna hold up over time. They really need die cast there. He does want to topple over, especially when you're trying to pose him, trying to get his weight shifted so he'll stand and that he doesn't just automatically want to do the splits, because those legs are so heavy with the parts for Granbird on his feet. I just don't know, but overall, I'm impressed. Good Smile, you did it. Because now I also heard that the Might Gain was very good as well, and the 7 Changer was really good, but I did not get those because Might Gain is not my favorite design. And as you guys know, when that one was announced, they also announced the Akomi Kenzen Great Might Gain, and I like that one from Sentinel. I thought it looked better, and it'll be smaller than this one, of course. The Amakuni Kenzens are relatively kind of like the Super Fire Dagwon. It'll probably be roughly about that size. So, you know, it is what it is. But I think overall, I think Good Smile did a really good job. There's a couple of things that I think that Good Smile needs to work on. Number one, if you could give me a special edition that has a chromed out of all the gold parts, put that with the stands, you've got me sold right there. If you can give me just a little bit of die cast, and I know that they don't want to give us die cast because they're trying to keep the price low, but to be honest, once you add Granbird and Fighbird, and then if you get the stand, you're still talking $400 and something. So it ain't like it's super cheap. So you might as well go ahead and give us die cast, especially in the joints, because I think that, especially in the legs for Firebird, he's going to need it, especially in this combined mode. For regular Firebird, I think he's fine because he's not carrying that much weight. But with Great Fighbird, he's going to need it. And I'm just not sold if those legs are going to stand the course of time. I'm just not sure. Other than that maybe, you know, give me some articulated hands. Some more articulated hands, I think, would be good for this guy. But other than that, I really don't have any complaints. Now, of course, as you guys know, I don't really give a final score for the combined figure. I don't really think it's necessary. I think he's very, very good. I think Good Smile is on the right track here. And I'll be interested to see what they do next. Are they going to do a Bongon? Are we going to get a Golderon? Who knows? So kudos to Good Smile on this one. I'm really impressed. Now, of course, as I've stated before, Firebird is one of my favorites. It's my second favorite. I think my first one is Super Fire Dagwan. My second is Firebird. I don't really like Great Fighbird all that much, but with this one, he looks good. He looks really good. I wouldn't say that he looks better than the original Firebird. I still like that design a little bit more than this one, but this one is not bad. So the Firebird saga is over. I think that this is going to be my quintessential Great Firebird and Firebird. Now, could Sentinel do a better one? You never know. We'll have to wait and see. But I am really impressed with this guy, and I think Good Smile did a good job. So that's what I've got for you guys today. Thank you guys for watching the video. If you could like, comment, and subscribe to the channel, I would appreciate it. Send this one out to all of the Brave fans, all of the Firebird fans. I would appreciate it. Now, I've had some people ask me, why do you still continue to do Brave? Because Brave doesn't really do that well on my channel. But you have to understand that for me, Brave, I have an affinity for Brave just like I have an affinity for Japanese Transformers. And right now, we're in the middle of a Brave renaissance because for almost 10 to 15 years, we almost got nothing from Brave outside of GaoGaiGar. GaoGaiGar is probably the only one. Everything else, like you hardly ever got anything. So you have like the original DX Brave toys, and then that's it. So ever since Kotobukiya started releasing X Kaiser, and it seems like all the other companies are releasing them, we don't know if this is ever going to come again. So to be honest, I know that these are probably not going to do well on the channel as far as views, but I'm still going to do them because I like them, you know, and hopefully it will turn some of you guys on, because that's actually how I found out about Brave. I was watching somebody else's channel and they were talking about it and I didn't know what it was, and so I had to do my research, and then I ended up liking the series and the franchise as a whole very, very much. And it is a little bit obscure. We've never really gotten any releases in America outside of GaoGaiGar, and they didn't even finish subtitling that one because it didn't do that well from what I understand. So, you know, I understand that it's not going to be super successful on the channel, but I'm still going to release them. And to be honest, I really only got a couple more to do now. I think I need like a Golderon, a Great Mike Gine, and maybe like a Fire J Decker. And I need a good X Kaiser. I need a good X Kaiser. The T-Spark one that they have, I'm not as sold on that one, but that, you know, that's pretty much it. Then the Brave line for me, at least, will pretty much be done unless they start doing the villains and stuff. But anyway, so that's what I've got for you guys today, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.